Steven Universe and all associated images are property of Cartoon Network, Rebecca Sugar, and any and all other respective owners. I don't know them all. All footage in this video has been used for the purpose of critique parody under fair use. Please support the official release. Where do gems get their energy from? No, there's no need to go recheck the title of this video. You did click on the right video, and I am going to answer the question that the title presents. The question of where gems get their energy just happens to be pertinent to answering that question. So really quick, let's address this. Where do gems get their energy? Well, we know it's not from food because not only have we been told multiple times that they don't need to eat, they quite literally can't metabolize food. They're rocks. They don't have any living cells to do that with. It's not from sleeping because we know for a fact that they don't have to sleep either, and sleeping doesn't give people energy anyway, it just resets the clock on their fatigue. We've also never seen them plug themselves into an outlet for several hours at a time, or anything similar. So the source of their energy must be something internal to the gem itself, because the gemstone is the only part of the gem that's actually always real, the rest of the gem only being real when it's being projected by the gemstone. And yet we know for a fact that gems don't feel any effect from the passage of time. They don't age and they don't die. We know for a fact that the closest thing that gems have to death is being shattered. If a gem could run out of energy, having no external means to recharge that energy, quite frankly, that would be a lot closer to what we consider death than having their brains shattered into pieces. Therefore, the fact that being shattered is the closest that gems ever come to dying is proof alone that gems never run out of energy. So their energy source is internal and it's perpetual. And quite frankly, that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's not even like they go out and stand in the sun and absorb energy like a solar panel or Superman. They literally do not take in any energy from external sources. And quite frankly, there's only one way I can think of that this is possible. It's something that's theoretically possible, but is much more possible in science fiction than it is considered possible in real science. And that's the idea that if the multiverse theory is true, and there are an infinite number of parallel universes, it should be possible to tap into every single one of those universes, or at least a huge number of them, all at once, and siphon off the ambient energy from those universes, collecting that energy into one source, and that energy would never run out. Something similar to this was explored in the television series Stargate Atlantis with the zero-point modules that powered the Atlantis starship, and in the recent movie Doctor Strange as the explanation for how sorcerers get the energy to cast magic spells. So as of now, until we learn something else in the canon that contradicts this idea, assuming that we ever do, I'm going to be working off the theory that gems are powered by the ambient energy collected from throughout the multiverse, as it is literally the only thing that makes scientific sense. So at this point, you may be asking, how is it that this ties into the question of how Steven was able to remain breathing in the episode Bubbled? Because we plainly see that he forms his bubble not only well after he is outside of the moon base's atmosphere, but that he later despawns his bubble and doesn't reform it until well after the air inside of it would have dissipated. Not only that, but all the way back in Bubble Buddies, Steven and Connie were inside the bubble plenty long enough that they should have used up most of the oxygen in there and replaced most of it with carbon dioxide. And yet we don't see any indication of the symptoms that would normally be associated with breathing in more carbon dioxide than you are oxygen. The only conclusion that I can reach is that Steven must somehow be able to produce oxygen. And no, it's not the bubble that does it, because the bubble is just light. It has to be something real and tangible, something that isn't projected by something else. Some part of Steven's body must be able to produce oxygen, and I think it could only be his gem. After all, we know from the episode An Indirect Kiss, where we learn about Rose's healing tears, that those tears came from the gem itself. And while it's possible that those tears were just holographic tears and saying that they flowed from the gem was just Garnet's way of saying that they were projected by her gemstone, while it is possible that holographic tears could drip into a damaged gem, do the work necessary to repair it, and then dissipate like a gem weapon would, and while it's possible that Steven's biology has managed to recreate that ability organically the same way that it's managed to adapt fusion and shapeshifting to an organic body, if we assume that they are actual physical tears, actual physical liquid that is produced by the gemstone, and we also assume that the gem can create oxygen for Steven to breathe, the two ideas actually support each other. Let's look at another science fiction technology here for a second, keeping in mind that I'm only bringing up other technologies and other science fiction works because Steven Universe clearly takes a lot of inspiration from other science fiction works. That technology being the replicators from Star Trek The Next Generation and onward. Well, it's an absolutely ludicrous idea. The canon explanation for how replicators work, for how they create something seemingly from nothing, is that they literally convert energy into matter following a specific pattern. And the reason why that's ludicrous is because it would take ridiculous amounts of energy just to fuel that process. Not to mention the raw energy that would have to be available to convert into matter. And the ships in Star Trek have a lot of energy to spare, but it's not infinite. However, as we've already established, the energy within gems seems to be. Not only that, but GEMS already has something akin to the technology necessary to build matter along a certain pattern. Every time a gem turns on its holographic body, they are creating a working facsimile of a body that looks, feels, sounds, and I would imagine smells just like a regular human body. It's only a simulation of a real human body because it is sustained by the gemstone. But what if Rose could use the same technology that she used to pattern her body every time she remade it, and the perpetual energy of her gem to create real molecules, and that's where her tears came from? It would also stand to reason then that her gem, now belonging to Steven, could create oxygen molecules in the same way. This doesn't exactly explain how his gem would know to do that for him, since gems aren't built to sustain organic bodies, but as I said before, his gem has been seen to adapt its technology to his organic form before, so it's not entirely out of the question. I have no idea what they could do with his ability that they haven't already done, but I definitely think that it is an ability that Steven has, and at the end of the day, it's a pretty cool one. And it is possible that if he has this ability, he may someday learn how to use it to create different molecular compounds, just like Rose seemingly did, which opens up a whole bunch of other possibilities and is much more exciting. But as usual, guys, I ask, what do you think of this theory? Did I pattern it well, or am I just making something out of nothing? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.